Alright class, so I'm going to show you how you can edit and bring out those shadows in our photos. This was a photo I took a couple years ago at school. So I always do recommend control click or right click on the photo in Bridge and make a duplicate copy, so that way you can actually work on an additional copy. If you need to go back to the original, you can make additional copies from that original. So I'm just going to control click or right click and open this thing into Camera Raw. So the main sliders I would focus on is your shadow slider to bring out your shadows. You will notice how it does make it more defined. The one that's really going to make it super defined is your blacks. You'll see how much more it'll actually drop down your shadows. This is the before and after. The shadows are much more defined. If you have kind of soft edge shadows, I do recommend clicking on the effects tab and going and adding a little bit of clarity. You will see, especially if I zoom in, there's before and after. It does kind of wrap and kind of harden the edge of a shadow. So if you want a more defined shadow. One thing to keep in mind is when you kind of mess with your shadows and blacks, the colors might get affected. So I might bring the saturation down a teeny bit. It kind of made it too red. You can also adjust your overall exposure to kind of balance everything out. Like if you had a dark photo and made it too dark with your blacks and shadows. So it just depends on how you shot your photo. If it's a bright photo, it should be fine if you just bring down your shadows, blacks, and add some clarity. But if you had a darker photo, you might need to bring up your overall exposure up a little bit, just to kind of compensate if it's a lot of blacks. And then once you're done, just open it into Photoshop and then save it out as a JPEG. So for this project, I just need to see the 8 finished edited photos. So I don't need to see the before and after. You can just put the 8 finished edited photos on a Google slide. But you do need to make sure you save that correctly. So in Photoshop, just go File, Save As. If it's already a copy, I'm just going to save and replace it. Make sure the format says JPEG here. It's saving in the right folder. And then hit Save and Replace. Check your quality. Usually do between 10 and 12 and then hit OK. And then if I go back to Bridge, that's my before and after. So you can see the difference between the two. The shadows are much more enhanced. All right, thank you.